the gospel and talking about cut it off, cut it off. Yes, these are strong words that Jesus is expressing to show the dignity towards the human person, and saying that anything that leads us into sin, we're invited to cut it off. And what is this sin? Sin is that which separates us from God. It separates us and distances us from each other, and it separates and distances us from ourselves. So anything like that, the Lord invites us to cut it off in order to be more free, in order to be more peaceful. And one of the basic aspects we can draw from the gospel of today is that call to faithfulness, in order not to be adulterers. Of course, God was not only speaking to the men about adultery towards the women, or the women towards the men, but he was speaking about the faithfulness that each one of us is invited to be in our own calling. Each one of us, especially for us religious, we're invited to give our whole self to all people, men and women, children, young and old, to give our best, just as Christ gave his best to all people. We may not have all the resources, but this is what the Lord invites us, that using everyone and everything around us, we bring good news to all people, and we try to see the best we can do in every situation, putting our heart into that which we are doing, putting our heart into the calling that he has invited us to be as Christians, first of all, then as religious. We would ask ourselves, am I really putting my heart into that call which the Lord gave me, giving my best, my thoughts, my mind, my strength, my everything in all the possible ways? Of course, human as we are also limited. We become weak, we become tired, but the Lord invites us with him never to get tired of giving the best. St. John Bosco would say, until his breath, he would give his life to the young. The young would notice this, that his life was there for them. And this is a challenge and calling on our part, that we try the best we can to continue doing the best we can in every situation. There are some situations which will be very hard, and we even don't know what to do. We say, Lord, teach us. How did you go through all this? Show us the way. Help us to know what we should do in these difficult situations. And that's what finally we had in today's first reading. We are all prophets, and now we hear Prophet Elijah, a man sent by God. A prophet is one who is sent by God to spread good news, to be the presence of God wherever we are. This is what each one of us is invited to be, the prophet, the person whereby when people see us, they see the presence of God in the way we speak, in the way we do things, in the way we live our lives. They see that God who is merciful, who is kind, who is patient. Oh, today we need a lot of patience when we accompany everyone, who is patient, who is present, that they see one who gives his or her life, trying to spend it with the people around. The time that we have is a gift from God that we give to each other. The gifts that we have of the Spirit in us, however small or big that they are gifts to be shared generously with our brothers and sisters, however small they are. And so we see today Elijah. He has been going through a lot. He has challenged the false prophets of Baal, the false prophets of King Ahaz, and the false prophets of Queen Jezebel. He has challenged them, and he has killed in the previous days 450. He was alone. He had the power of God and allowed God to work in him. He didn't listen to the voice of the many people around him, or he didn't follow the crowd, the 450. No, he remained strong. He was convinced of something which was good, and he said, no one can take away this conviction of this goodness that I have. And he teaches us to be convinced of our good things, that voice in our heart that invites us to be good and to do good no matter who what. And he now has been challenged, and now the Queen Jezebel is looking for him. He wants to kill. How can you take away all that has been making my name? The 450 bow, and then they begin looking for him. And imagine the man of God who has been doing good. They are looking for him. He says they've killed other prophets of God, and now he's the only one who is living, and he says it is tiresome, and he's ready to die. Now he runs goes into the wilderness. He faces that dark moment of the wilderness, that dryness. And invites us also that in our life we may be challenged many times by the many voices around us, the many noises around us, the many situations that we feel like we are blocked, we can't find our way out. Yes, in life we find these situations. But like Elijah, we're invited to cry out to the Lord. First of all, to see how to face them, and then at one moment even to go into the wilderness of our own lives, to go into those dry moments where we feel life seems to be dry, or we seem not to understand what is happening, to go into the silence of our hearts and talk one-to-one with God. And this is what Elijah did, and what he invites us to. And the angel of the Lord appears to him, and he gives him something to eat, food for the journey, and says, no, I'm not through with you. When you are in such a kind of difficult situation, and the Lord says, no, even in this difficult situation, I know you can bring good news to the people. And then he sends him, he gives him strength, and he continues his mission of spreading the good news until he anoints even his successor, as well as making sure that the good news is the vision of God reaches all. Dear friends, this is similar to our own lifestyle. We have been invited to follow the Lord and to see the best we can do to make him known to the whole world, to make his healing known to the whole world. But in this mission that the Lord has called us, unfortunately, there can't miss crosses, difficulties, challenges. I know you have touched them when we accompany each other, when we accompany the people around. There can't miss these challenges. Let's not give up. We are not the first ones to face them. And at the end of it all, let us remember it is his work. It's the Lord's work. We do the best we can to accompany everything, to go in the silence, and try to find out what we can do. After we have done the best we can, we leave everything in God's hands. Just as Elijah was there, and the Lord invited him to the mountain, and then he expects the Lord to come as usual. We see the thunder coming in, the fire coming in, but the Lord is not in the fire. The earthquake coming in, the Lord is not in the earthquake. The windstorm wind coming in, the Lord is not in the wind. And then finally a gentle breeze that comes in. That shows how really tender the Father is. That even when he sees Elijah broken down, almost discouraged, with gentleness he appears to comfort Elijah, to speak to him in the silence, in the breeze, in the gentleness, in the calmness. And this is what he invites us to do, dear friends, that as we accompany each other in this journey, as brothers and sisters in this journey, we are invited to open our eyes to see those who are, to continue opening our eyes to see those who are struggling with life, and to whisper something gentle, to be there for them, to uplift them, to journey together, because the life that we journey together makes the journey beautiful and lovely, whereas a journey made alone becomes difficult and heavy. And this is our mission together, to see the best we can do and to continue doing that best, accompanying and journeying together. May the Spirit of the Lord accompany us now and forever. Amen.